And what's up, guys? We're back again with another video. Big up to all the people who have tuned in and who are watching us and keep supporting us. We have two guests here right now with me because Arsenal is playing the second leg of the game against Olympiacos, and hopefully we all know who will go through. But I have Steve to dispute that with me, and maybe Bhargav to support me in that sense. And how are you guys doing? Steve, how are you doing?
Yeah, good. Thank you, man. I mean, if you're talking about Olympiacos going through, then yes, I agree with you. No, I mean, we'll get into that a bit more later. But yeah, thank you for very much having me on, and I look forward to our chat.
And where can people find you? A quick shout out before I go to Bhargav.
Yeah, so you can primarily find me on Twitter and on Instagram with my Twitter handle at Steve Conturu, as it's spelt below me. And I'm also part of Hellas Football, who are a Greek outlet that primarily distribute Greek footballing news, all the latest news in English, because there's not a mainstream outlet that really does that. We talk about the Greek Super League. We talk about the Greek Super League 2, the second tier. We talk about Greeks playing abroad. We talk about the national team. We talk about Greek teams in Europe. And we have a podcast on a weekly basis that you can find on Spotify, on Anchor, and on Apple Music. And so, yeah, come find us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and also on YouTube, I believe, as well. And we have a website.
Yep, and you guys definitely do that. I have put the links of everyone's Twitter profile who is on the show, or including my own Twitter profile that is beyond the post, and you can check that out. The link is in the description. So do follow everyone, and I guess everyone follows back, and a community is built. So definitely do that. And the man who made it happen, Bhargav, how are you doing?
I'm good, man. Thank you for having me, Nitesh.
We have had some good discussions. I put your Twitter profile there as well, because I think right now you are the man that everyone wants on their channel, either to host all their shows, and you're doing a good job with Steven as well. So big up to you as well.
Appreciate it. First thing I want to say is, Steven, I haven't seen you since last week.
Yeah.
So I haven't really got to talk to you about the game. I think I did Twitter you, and I think I said like we had about like. It was a very interesting game last week, actually. I mean,
Yeah,
and I think like the fallout from it, I think the fallout from the game last week has been split among Arsenal fans. Some Arsenal fans are like, it's a very positive result, we got through. There's some that are like, we had 80 minutes of like, usual Arsenal football, and then 10 minutes of brilliant, and for me, I thought some of the goals you haven't seen Arsenal do this year. The Gabriel goal, the El Nani goal, those are goals that you didn't really expect from Arsenal until that game, and then it just happened in that game. First, let's start with the first half. I mean, in the first half, I think what surprised me about that game is how easily Tierney got through with his crossing in the first half, especially. Did you guys plan for that, or like what happened?
I mean, I imagine we did plan for it. It's just maybe it
what would
was
you say happened down the left lane?
Yeah, I mean, it seems as though they obviously you will anticipate a player such as Kieran Tierney to do things like that in a game, and the ultimate thing was to try and stop him from progressing the ball down the flank and trying to make crosses, and obviously that didn't happen as well as we would have liked. He was a real handful, and that's why you saw a couple of changes in the second half to try and deal with that, and to a certain extent it kind of worked. I feel like he did have a better first half than the second half, but even still, he was hard to deal with, and that's Kieran Tierney. He's in great form at the moment, and he's one of the top left backs in the league this season for a reason. Yeah, I think the first half we had our chances. We grew into the game a little bit. You guys started the brighter of us, and I don't think we really got going until probably even maybe around half an hour in, when we got a fantastic chance to go 1-0 up. Mazouras should have squared it to El Arabi, who was completely free in the box, but instead he tries to take the shot and absolutely skies it. That's not the first time, and probably not the last time we'll see Mazouras doing that. So yeah, that was a big chance wasted. And then obviously Ødegaard scores a fantastic goal that Jose Sarr didn't look like he expected at all. So that was a big blow for us, but we picked ourselves up. We continued on, and then second half we started brilliantly. I thought we were absolutely brilliant in the beginning of the second half. Sorry, and then the big turning point at that point was when you took off Thomas Partey for Dani Ceballos, because 3 minutes later Ceballos gives the ball away after a weird pass from Bert Leno, and El Arabi equalises. So it was game on for us from there, and we looked like we could even score a second. We nearly did through El Arabi again. Bellerin blocked the shot very well by him, which almost made it 2-1 to us. And I think in some ways the scoreline doesn't quite reflect our performance, because I think at times we perform well. It's just we didn't put our chances away, and Arsenal got some fantastic opportunities and put them away. So yeah,
I think we gifted you guys 3 chances in that first half.
We should have scored, but all of them really.
Just to add one thing, not taking your chances is something that we do best. So there's no comparison about that with respect to you competing with us on that basis. But one thing I just wanted to add quickly there is, I think our players had a decent game. Apart from maybe those 2 misplaced passes, Odegaard was also fine. And we gave you the chances more than you creating it in the first half. In the second half, yes, you had that phase where you were better. But I think we held on and just conceded 1. So I think that is where we managed to hold on. And then we converted our chances that we got.
Yeah, I would say I would say until about the Gabriel goal, like it was typical Arsenal, like all year, like creating chances, not putting them away. The first half, it was pretty sloppy actually. I thought, Odegaard, yes, he got the goal. That mistake could have been, but it was that first mistake. I think it was. People say it's like a semi mistake because he's 40 yards out. You guys could have done better. The second one, the David Luiz one, was like the one I think the guy should have either passed it or curled it better with the shot. When David Luiz made that mistake and he just passed it straight to was it your left back?
You mean Masuras?
Yeah, Masuras. Yeah, he got that, and then he tried to like curl it into the top corner. That mistake should have been like put away. I think that one.
Yeah, he should have passed it. We all couldn't believe it when he didn't pass. It's amazing how we're still surprised that Masuras does this, and yet he's done this. He's done this plenty of times before.
And I think there was one other mistake. I forget who. Oh yeah, Ceballos, obviously. The third one you capitalized on. So it could have been. It could have been. You could have had 3 goals in the first half. Realistically, you could have had 3 goals in the first half. That's the other side of it. But it's football. I mean, sadly, that's how it works.
Yeah.
Second half, though, like, go ahead.
No, I was just going to ask another question, but yeah, go ahead with the second half part you were mentioning.
I guess the second half. Second half comes on. Why'd you guys take off El Arabi?
Your guess is as good as mine, mate. That was the second turning point where we essentially lost the game by doing that. I think because your backline was so. I felt like your backline was quite intimidated by the fact that El Arabi was there and he was running at you guys constantly. And then the moment we bring him off, we bring on Hassan, who's not the same kind of striker as El Arabi. Much more of a poacher, much more of a sort of player that we just get an easy tap in or just head it from across. Like, we just lost all of that intensity, and I think that's ultimately what led to the second goal happening, because a couple of minutes later, lo and behold, Gabriel puts that looping header from the corner, which we conceded. We conceded from a corner again. So another problem of set piece goals we're conceding. So
Sorry. No. My question was actually about this. As an opposition fan, do you think Leno was the one who was also responsible for that mistake? The gifting of that goal, or do you think it was all down to Dani Ceballos? If you saw it, what did you feel? What was your gut feeling? Because our fan base is saying it was all Ceballos. Leno doesn't get blamed for it, but I feel like if you see, Leno has done it more often than not. It's happened thrice already in 1 week. So I blame Leno as well. What do you think?
I agree. I don't think it's Ceballos is the player in question who lost the ball, obviously, but Leno. And this is the first time Bert Leno's done this. You know, he's very susceptible to just not communicating with his backline and then passing it to them short when their backline is under pressure, and that's what has led to many chances being created and scored against you guys. So Leno's overall has been a decent keeper this season. It's just that there's that one part of his game that he's being clearly told to do by Arteta to play out from the back. But then that's also to your detriment as well. For some reason, you guys are. I don't know. For some reason, Leno just keeps making these same mistakes, and that's what led to our equaliser.
For some reason, we should also have a pseudo name, maybe like the Suicide Squad, because we keep self-destructing all the time. And like a lot of fans have said that Arsenal is their own worst enemy. So I think that is what they mean when they say that. But just a quick question again, as we discussed the mistake that happened. But do you think that Olympiacos did enough? The team did enough to actually get something out of the game, and or do you feel that you were unlucky on that day, or do you feel that it was a deserved win for Arsenal as an Olympiacos fan?
I think it's a combination of both, because like you said at the beginning, at the end of the day, if you don't put your chances away, you don't deserve to win. And I think, I can say that we were unlucky. We were a little bit unlucky, especially with the injuries that we had, because, and I've said this loads of times before, the fact that we only had one partially fit centre-back playing in Zogradis, playing our holding mid, who is the connection between the defence and the midfield, not playing in midfield, was a big issue, because then it left spaces in between those two areas, and that allowed you guys to attack there. But it's also a combination of Arsenal's individual brilliance, which I also said would be our downfall if we allow individuals to create and convert chances like they did. Some unexpected, like El Neni, who came on and scored an absolute worldie. So I think it's a big mixture of things. I think we deserve maybe slightly more from the game, but I don't think we deserve to win as well. I think I would have maybe said that if we had lost 2-1, if we had drawn it, etc.
Well, the thing is, the problem is I expected you guys to play more free flowing and create more chances, but I feel like apart from El Arabi, like you didn't really have much going, and a lot of his chances came from nothing, honestly, and that was actually the big. A lot of the times, our individual quality did make a difference, because I think you guys fouled us constantly. I think you guys had to. I mean, you guys did a lot of the tactical fouls that happen in England. You pretty much had to. Did you find our wingers to be of any threat though in that game?
I think
I feel like the fullbacks did a lot more, but like the wingers in general were just passing it to the fullbacks, basically.
No, but Bellerin had a decent game, I felt. I know he's been criticised quite heavily this season for his inconsistency, and he doesn't have the pace he had before a lot of the injuries he's suffered, but he had a decent game. As we said, Tierney was brilliant, one of your best players. William, I think I said to you, Barkev, William was the difference, because he can take set pieces, he can take corners, and lo and behold, he got the assist. So I felt like he was a useful part of that team and a real danger man for us. Saka had a bit of an off game. I don't think he was fully fit at the time, and I'm not sure how fit he is in order to play us this week.
He's missing.
Yeah, exactly. He didn't look right against us, so it's not. I expected a bit more from Saka, to be honest. So I think we dealt with him fairly well.
But you got Pepe to deal with him.
Yeah,
and I thought that was. For me, I thought Pepe was like the bigger threat with his explosion against the Olympiacos. Especially your, I don't think your fullbacks got as forward as I expected. That was like one of the big. That was the other big difference.
I think they were forced to defend a lot more. I think because of the issue with our centre back pairing, I think they were probably told to defend more, and then that almost kind of messed up what we were initially going out there to do, which was use our overlapping fullbacks with the wing play, and then we would have Jan and Villa normally go into a back three to protect the defence once we were in the counter, and so because that couldn't happen, we were then sort of had one hand tied behind our back the whole game. Not that I feel like, again, I still stand by Arsenal are a better team than us, and they probably would. They're more than capable of beating us even with a full strength team. But we would have had more of a chance. I feel like we would have had more of a chance if we had actually been able to play our best team possible, but we weren't able to.
For me, I thought your midfield was slightly better, if that makes sense. At least in the first 80 minutes, it was a slightly better. Camera was getting forward. I think you guys did have a lot of. You guys won a lot of balls in the middle. I did notice that you guys won a lot of balls in the middle. The problem is I don't think you guys had that killer pass whatsoever, and that was for me that was like the big difference. Do you guys? I guess like now moving on to today, any fans out there taking bets that you guys are gonna win?
No, in all honesty, I think everyone's sort of very vaguely hopeful that something could change. You know, we still believe in our team to the end, and you know that, and we still have 90 minutes to play. We'll see what happens. I think I'm personally of the opinion that it's a bit of a stretch for us to go through. If we did, I'd be overjoyed, but I can't see it. So what I would like to see us do is just take the game to you and see what happens, because we have a couple of players coming back from injury now. I saw something only an hour ago of what Pedro Martins might play against you guys, which seems to be almost a 3 at the back with wing backs, 2 in midfield, and then 2 inside forwards with a striker, almost like a 5-2-3. So it's a weird one. We don't play that normally, but it seems as though he's going to do that so that on the counter we have 5 players essentially in attack, which, you know, is interesting. I don't know how useful it is to play a system that we haven't used before, but we'll see if he does play that. It could all be rumours. It could just be a backup idea.
Yeah,
And,
I mean, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just asking you, if suppose you end up winning the game but you don't go through, what would be your reaction like at the end of it?
Disappointed but happy at the same time, because a win would still give us coefficient points for for the Greek league to maybe go higher in the European coefficient, and that's always useful. And I feel like it would still show, despite us going out, that we can still compete with you guys despite the overall tie being done and you guys going through. So I would take a win despite not going through, because ultimately that's not the worst scenario that I can think of when it comes to this game.
And another quick question I wanted to add, in comparison to last year, do you think the team was better last year, or do you think it is more to do with Arsenal playing better football this year, that the result is different?
Some people have debated whether our team is better this year or last year. I'd say our team was probably better last year. I think the pieces in the puzzle knew what they were doing more. Like Tsimikas and Omar El Abdallawi at that point with the definitive fullbacks, they knew what had to be done. They knew how we were to play it. Guilherme, as much as I love Jan Villa, is a much more mobile player who could combine being a number 6 to being a number 8. So he would always join the attack as well. I just think it was a lot more fluid. The only piece we didn't have last season, really, when we played you guys, was Kostas Fortounis, who is now back to his best. So there's a lot that we've added to this team, and I think it will be great. And I think it's also because last season we didn't have a transition of our back four, because we've changed pretty much our entire back four this season, barring Usain Ubar, who's pretty much been one of the starting centre backs. So there's been a lot of transition in that sense. So I would say last season, yes, we had a more kind of complete team.
And Cheddars is talking about Podence as well, who's at Wolves. So
he's fantastic. What a player. He was. That goal he scored against Spurs in Piraeus was absolutely excellent. He was a fantastic player for us, and he's showing his class now. Now that he's at Wolves, he's one of their best players in my opinion. And I'm really loved watching him, and I'm happy that he's hitting the heights, because we got him for a steal actually. I think at the time it was a free transfer because there was a lot of stuff going on at Sporting, and eventually because of a court case due to complications with his contract, like. It was weird. We then had to pay about 6-7 million euros for him, which is a lot, but it was worth it because then we made a profit either way. Yeah. And it's a shame we lost in mid-season, because he would have been a fantastic player to have the entire season. But you know, when the Premier League comes calling, you got to go.
Yep, and just a quick shout out to everyone in the chat: Simpy, Anish, Brianel, Cheddars, Andrew, Miss Melina. Do check out Steve's Twitter account as well. Do follow him there, and Bhargav as well. As you all know, that we keep doing streams in between. And there's a big Europa League tie coming up between the two clubs, Arsenal and Olympiacos. And whoever wins that tie with a certain margin could go through. We just need to hold on. Olympiacos needs to take the initiative now. They did it last season. Let's see if they can do it in the second leg this time. Another question to you will be from an Arsenal fan, from any Arsenal fan, will be, what do you make of Agent Socrates?
I love Socrates. You know, it was such a. I said it with Bargev last week. Very exciting that we brought him back to Greece. Wasn't expected. You know, I thought all the rumors at first were just that, and that they were making a really lazy comparison of a Greek player going back to the best Greek team. And so when it actually came about, I was really, really happy, because despite his age, he's still a very, very good centre back. He's starting to pick up some form now for us. He's really starting to become a proper leader in the back. And I thought his best game of the season so far was against you guys. He was excellent. Yeah, for us, if it wasn't for El Arabi's goal, I think he'd be man of the match for me. For us, you know, I'm really happy with Socrates.
Unfortunately, probably the pace of the Premier League for his age was too much, but he was doing well, I think, in that game. I think he's also a leader, so that helps as well. He's one of those guys who's quite vocal when he wants to be vocal. But I think at Arsenal, we have such problems. You know, our history with captains and what has happened and what keeps happening. Our captains, whoever gets the armband, eventually ends up leaving the club. And these days, the talk of the town is about Aubameyang. Do you have any opinion on what is going on between Arteta and Aubameyang? And if you had to choose one side, like, do you think Arteta was right to drop him for the North London derby? Do you think he should have played Aubameyang? What do you feel at a personal level, like, since you've been watching football for quite some time now?
Well, I was asked this question recently, and I felt that I'm on the side of Arteta. I actually felt he made the right choice there. Whether people disagree with me or not, you know, that's fine. You can disagree with me completely. I mean, you guys won the game without Aubameyang anyway. So I don't think that what he did was correct, Aubameyang. You know, at the end of the day, he's the captain. If he's coming late to an huge game like the North London derby, there is no other game that should be more important in your calendar than the North London derby. And he turns up late, and he's the captain. He's supposed to show example to the younger players, the players who've only recently come in, and just to the rest of the squad in general. And he treats the game like that. Of course, he has to be dropped. He can't just be put out in the starting lineup and be like, "Oh no, it's okay. He's the captain. He's an established football player. He's fine." Because then other people think they can do the same, and by doing that to Aubameyang, it shows, you know, no one is bigger than the club, and that's how it should be.
I'm just thinking of if Piers Morgan hears this again. He's been going on about how Arteta shouldn't have dropped Aubameyang, and how I am with Aubameyang. He even sent out a tweet, "I stand with Aubameyang." Even though the issue has more or less died down, the media is trying to hype it up. Do you think Aubameyang will start against you guys?
Probably. I should think so. I mean, it's interesting because if anything, Arsenal's lineup is going to be even more interesting than Olympiacos, because I know for a fact that we're going to start our strongest team because it's a must-win game and we have nothing to lose. Whereas you guys, it could go one of two ways. Either Arteta sees this still as important, which is what he was quoted as saying after the first leg, and he'll put out a reasonably strong team despite you guys playing West Ham on the weekend, or he sees this as, we've got 3 away goals, they're not going to score 3 away goals without reply, and I'm just going to put the backup team out, and then we have a full strength team for West Ham. So it's going to be very interesting to see what you line up with. But I think certainly Aubameyang should start. I think Socrates actually did a number over him in the first leg. He kind of stopped him from doing anything in that game, particularly. So, yeah, I could see Aubameyang wanting to score against the Star. I feel like he'll be really motivated to try put one away.
The main problem will be that West Ham this season is no joke. So we can't take our foot off the pedal at the weekend and think that West Ham will let us win that game easy, or it will be anything but easy. So, but both games are equally important because we need to go through to the next round as well and also beat West Ham, because our league struggles have shown that we need to go upwards. So, Bhargav, but even now I'll put this question to you as well. Would you prefer playing Lacazette or Aubameyang against Olympiacos in the second leg?
See, this is a difficult one for me because I think Alba starts. I think just because of our investment in him, a lot of the games I think he starts. With Lacazette, I think we get more player involvement, especially from the midfield when he starts. But I think for him, his finishing when it does get up, his finishing does need to improve if he's going to be more consistently in the team. What's going to happen today? I think ideally you'd love to have Aubameyang back and get a good response out of him. I think he might actually start on the bench again, and then we're going to save Alba for the weekend. Because I still think like a lot of the news it's still heated, right, in the in that department. It's still like I don't think it's resolved yet, and it's not going to get resolved until Alba finally plays. But I don't see him like completely playing today for some reason. Now, as far as our lineup goes, I think ideally what I don't want to lay back and just like defend 3 goals just for the hell of it. But I do feel like at least for the first half, we're going to play a bit defensive. I think we're expecting you guys to come at us. I mean, especially if you're playing that 3 at the back lineup that you're suggesting. That you guys have never played.
You seriously think we'll be? Sorry, did I lag or just I think Bhargav lagged there, right?
Yeah.
Do you guys seriously think we'll be playing 3 at the back?
No. They're going to play 3 at the back. And
supposedly, I mean, from what was being said in training, it looked like we were playing. We weren't playing Kenny Lala. Interestingly, we were playing Androutsos, who's a converted right back who primarily played on the right midfield or even in centre mid or attacking mid, and he's been a fairly decent squad player and a very, very solid right back for us when we've needed him. And then the 3 at the back would be Bar, Socrates, and Jolebas, who is a left back normally, but you know he won't. He doesn't need to bomb up the pitch anymore. He hopefully will be defensively solid, and then play Reabchuk at left wing back, and then we'd have Camara and Mvia in the midfield too, and then have Kostas Fortounis and Yorgos Mazouras on the left and right flanks, and then have El Arabi up top. Whether that works or not, it remains to be seen. If they're going to do that in training, then there's a possibility Pedro Martins could deploy that.
Yeah,
and
I mean the basically you pretty much have to like win the ball in the midfield. Otherwise, you're getting Tierney is going to get in behind, do the same thing that the first game, get a bunch of crosses in.
Exactly.
And Holobas is a decent. I thought he was like a decent like left back at Watford actually.
He was.
And then he came to like Olympiacos, and you say he's struggling. He's not lived up to expectation in that.
Not. Well, I mean, that's the thing. The expectation. He's actually exceeded expectation, if anything, because the idea for him to come back was for him to be the second choice left back, and that was his understanding as well. He didn't come to be our like competing for the left back spot. He's there to be the backup because he's the experience. He knows he's been with us before. He knows how this club works. He knows what it means to play for Olympiacos. So in the first half of the season, the fact that he played left back and did a fairly decent job, despite not being amazing and being exactly what we need in terms of the system, because he didn't quite fit the system due to the lack of his pace and his age. But he still got it on the defensive side, and he never really put that much of a foot wrong for us. It's more just when we needed more, he wasn't capable of doing that. So I have no quarrel with Jolebas at all. I think he's been a great servant for the club this season. But now that we've got an actual left back who can run in Reabchuk, it's nice because then at least we have somebody who can do it.
Just a quick shout out to Antonio, who's chosen to represent Jamaica instead, and I think that is a big thing for Jamaican football.
That's official.
As per what Miss Melina has just posted, I need to check it out as well.
Yeah,
but if he has done that, then big up to Antonio as well, because that won't be an easy call because obviously he would have had much better options, and he's gone with Jamaica right now. So
I mean, where else could he have gone?
I think he could have played for England.
Yeah, obviously England he could have played for, but yeah, I don't know what else. What other? I think he is just English Jamaican, if I'm not mistaken.
See, I feel like for England wise, like I mean, I don't know, Steve. Do you follow England a lot, or do you end up liking the Greek soccer, the Greek national team more?
Well, living in England, you can't exactly escape the national team here. I don't support them per se, but I'm happy that they did well in the World Cup in 2018. I was really happy because it made everyone else in the country have a real feel good attitude over the summer. And all my mates are England fans, so like when the Euros start and hopefully social distancing ends, we're all going to meet up and watch the England games, which is always a fun thing to do. I do support and follow Greece and Cyprus, with my family being from Cyprus. Neither team is particularly great at the moment. If you want to hear me talk about the Greek national team a bit more, it's on the podcast because the squad list came out recently, and happy with some choices and very not happy with others from the guys at Hellas Football.
I mean, for England wise, I feel like one player to look out for is I think he's chosen England right now. He's chosen Germany actually, but I think like England is hoping to steal him now. Is Jamal Musiala? He's like the big 17-year-old prospect.
Yeah, I heard he chose Germany. Yeah,
he chose Germany, but I think I guess they changed the rule this year where you can have 3 national caps before. I think.
Decision. So because you can still play international friendlies for the senior team. It's just once you play a competitive fixture, that's it. You have to play for that national team.
I think they changed it to like actually 3 competitive fixtures.
I mean, I wouldn't know. I haven't looked anything up of that recently, but if that's the case, then sure.
But the thing is, I think he would get more opportunities in the German national side than in England because the competition here is too much, and Germany looks like a team that is on a decline, you can say in a way. So I think he could definitely make it to the team. Like he could be one of the next Ozils or whatever you want to tag him as. He could be doing that if he actually steps up. But a quick question, talking about national teams. Everyone happy with Odegaard, the new captain of Norway? Steven, do you find him as a threat in the upcoming game once again? He was good in the last one.
Well, I mean, he scored the opener. And it was almost typical. Like Odegaard hasn't done a huge amount really since he joined you guys. I guess you guys could agree with me or not. But of course, like the first impactful thing he does is score against us. It's just typical. But that's football. No, he's a talent. I mean, I remember when he was doing a tour of Europe at one point before he signed for Real Madrid. Like all the Liverpool were looking at him, United were looking at him, like he was Juventus, seen as this amazing talent of a player. And he never really got a shout out looking at Real Madrid. He did well at Real Sociedad last season, and hopefully, if he carries on like this to the end of the season, and scores consistently and plays well, don't know. I don't really know what his price tag is right now, but if Arsenal want him, try and get him.
See, I hated this loan for this reason, is because now we're hostage to like Real Madrid.
Well, you got two players on loan from them now, so buy us him.
The thing with him is I knew it was quality. It wasn't a big deal with that. The adaptation, obviously the adaptation, no one knows. People, you can have like a Torreira situation. Guy comes and plays well, but doesn't want to be there whatsoever. So in the long run, it's not even a prospect. With Odegaard, I do see him like wanting to be here, but now we're at like hostage to Real Madrid's fee basically, and now we have to like also look at it like, are we gonna waste another 6 months developing another cam? And it's pretty much a risk again. So
and then let him go. Yeah, and Real Madrid not want him.
This was the problem with the loan deal last year. A lot of Arsenal fans were complaining about that portion in January.
Yeah, and he has a couple of years on his contract, and he was interested in going.
Yeah, you guys made Odegaard rolling.
I think I lagged again, or is Bhargav lagging?
I think it's Bhargav lagging. Yeah.
So I was saying that Odegaard has a couple of years on his contract with Real Madrid, and the unfortunate part is that Arsenal level never puts in the clause that on loan with the obligation to buy. If he would have probably done that and fixed an amount already, I think he could have been our player at the end of the season. So hopefully either we buy him at the end of the season or get him on loan again. Either one, I think the fans will be happy. So before we go ahead, just let's take a few questions from the chat. Cheddar's asked you, who's your favorite Olympiacos player of all time? His is Giovanni.
Giovanni was great for us. A little bit before my time of watching, but fantastic player, absolute quality. I don't know how we managed to get him at his age. There's loads of players that I love over my time at Olympiacos. Rivaldo was a great player for us. Came kind of almost reinvigorated his career by playing for us and scoring great goals in Europe. Kostas Mitroglou comes to mind as well. Absolute goal machine. I think he's in our all-time. He's not our all-time top scorer, but he is. He's in the charts. He's in the charts for us, and he's absolute monster back in the day. I think my favorite, I mean, just because of my era, I've seen him from the beginning to where he is now. It is Kostas Fortounis. Like he's just like the epitome of the Olympiacos kind of youth academy. Came through, went away for a bit, came back, worked his way into the team, and he's just the poster boy for our club. And I hope he could play in a bigger team in a bigger league. He has the talent to do that, but he chose to stay at Olympiacos. He's on $100,000 a week, which is almost unheard of for a Greek Super League player. He's definitely the highest paid player in the league. And if he stayed for the rest of his career, I'd be happy because that it's such a unique thing in this day and age to have a player who stays for the vast majority of his career at one club.
Yeah,
And
he was. He bought some energy in that game, by the way. Still,
always does,
yeah,
and hopefully he starts. I think he should.
And
so
another
can you
quick
talk
que-
about the? Can you
Sorry.
talk about the injury? Oh, sorry. Could you talk about the injuries actually to Olympiacos? I think that's like the big key. I don't know. Is that one of your questions, Nitesh?
Yeah, we can definitely take an update. I was just going through the chats, and let's go ahead with this one, and then we can go on to that one as well.
I guess looking forward to the game today, like tomorrow. It's pretty much simple. You guys have to pretty much get the 3-1 result or better, and
It'd have to be 3-0 or 4-1. Yeah, I don't think it can be any other way because if it's 3-1, I think we go to extra time.
And then you guys get 30 minutes to score an away goal, and like that's.
And then he scores in the 120th minute again. Injury-wise, very happy because, well, not happy because Valbuena's out with I think he's got an abductor problem.
Yeah.
So he didn't travel with us to London. Hassan, backup striker, didn't travel, which in a way is a bad thing because you want another option to come off the bench. But at the same time, I want El Arabi to play for 90 minutes. So I think he's almost guaranteed to do that now. But Marios Fruzai, who's an extremely talented Greek winger, who got injured a couple of weeks ago, was out for a number of weeks and now is back. Apparently, he won't start, but I could see him coming on as an impact player. That's how he's worked best for us this season. And Bar is back, and that's the biggest thing. Bar is back. So we have an actual centre-back playing in defence, and Jan and Veer can just play in midfield again. So that's the big one. So despite Valbuena not being there, who's obviously still a fantastic player for us, Fortounis is still great to play in his place. So I'm not as worried as last time now.
And so I was just going quickly through the chat as well. Cheddars was asking you another question. I think he's from Cyprus as well. So he asked you, which is your favorite Cyprus team?
Oh man, well, I don't support a Cypriot team. The Cypriot leagues are great and also very, very questionable league at times. Corruption is rife in Cyprus, much like it supposedly is in Greece as well. But there's some great teams in Cyprus. The team that I really, really like, and no one will know them, but there's my adopted sort of village that we used to go to every year is Oroglini, which is just outside of the major town of Lamnaga, if you know where that is. And there's a team called Algi Oroglini, and they played very briefly in the Cypriot first tier, maybe 2-3 seasons ago, and now they're in the second tier. So that's kind of my favorite Cypriot club. It's a bit more obscure than I feel like he'd expect.
Okay, thank you. And I think Cheddars knows his teams around the local football situation in Cyprus. I think he's been following that for a long time. He has some discussions. He would know more than me with respect to the names that you just mentioned. So I guess he got his answer there. And a quick few comments coming in. England and Portugal have good squads for the Euros. Let's see whether they can perform. I heard that Ronaldo said that the upcoming World Cup will be his last. So let's see what he can do in the Euros and then the World Cup.
Makes sense.
Yeah, I think he's also tired with all the taunts that he's been getting from the former Juventus players in the recent weeks. And he scored a hat-trick after that. Odegaard is around 42 million as per what Miss Molina is adding from his agent is asking 42 million. So there must be some money coming in from there as well. A quick few comments coming in. Let's go to this one. What do you think will happen to the rest of the deadwood end of the season? Xhaka, Ceballos, Bellerin and Lacazette. Would you like to answer some of this about this, Steve, or should I let Bhargav take this one?
Go on, Bhargav, you take this one.
So our deadwood is getting binned. Bellerin's gone, I think, for sure. Laka, I think the decision hasn't been made yet. Ceballos is gone for sure. Xhaka has to stay at this point. I mean, he's a squad player. I do think we're going at. I think we'll know in like a month or so, like a much better idea. But I do think like he's gonna be our squad player next year. Bellerin's gone. Ceballos is probably going back to Madrid and then getting sold somewhere else. I feel like that's probably what's going to happen with that one. We definitely need 6 players at this point. We definitely need 6 players. I mean,
but will you bring in 6 players? That's the question.
Yeah, I mean that's
we
like
could, but those won't be all bought at high prices. Some of them will be free transfers. Some of them will be loanees. Yeah. So we could. Steve, but your honest opinion on these 4 names that you see, whom would you keep and whom would you bin?
I'd keep Lacazette. I think he still brings something. He's, I know he's a bit hot cold, but that's been Lacazette his entire career. If you look at his, like when he was at Lyon, he was averaging a goal every other game. It was good for them, and I think he still has something to bring. And I think if he leaves, then it'll be down to him wanting to leave, not Arsenal binning him off. And
okay.
Xhaka isn't one I would keep, but I feel like Xhaka is a player that will be kept. Ceballos, if Zidane is still at Real Madrid, then he'll stay at Real Madrid. If Zidane leaves at the end of the season, then Ceballos is most likely going to get sold. Bellerin, don't know what the situation is with him. I mean, he could end up somewhere even bigger for all I know for no reason whatsoever. I really liked Bellerin when he first burst into the scene. He was such a pacey, such an exciting right back, and it's a shame to see where he's gone from there. But I can't think where he would go. I really don't. I mean, would he stay in the Prem? Would he go back to Spain? Who knows?
I think he's a really good fit at PSG. PSG.
Oh yeah, true. PSG would work for him. Actually, they need a right back.
There's some places he's a really good fit for. I think with our system, it just doesn't. Right now, I think he's always been that player for me because he's more of a FIFA player in that sense. He just bombs down the wing.
Just full pace and nothing else.
Full pace, and it's amazing to watch. It's amazing to have him when you play FIFA.
Yeah.
In real life, the problem is there's no cover for that at Arsenal. Consistent cover for that in the midfield. On top of that, our fans criticize him for everything in some ways.
Yeah, he gets a lot of stick.
It's just a really bad fit for him.
Just want to add one thing. What I feel with respect to Bellerin, I think Arteta feels now that Bellerin is not motivated enough to play in the league, but for some reason in the cup competition where there is more up for stake, he looks a bit more motivated. Like if you saw the performance in the first leg, that looked way better than some of his league performances in recent times.
I agree.
So I guess that is why Cedric, Callum Chambers, these are the guys being played in the league, and Bellerin might play in the Europa League regularly even before he's sold.
Yeah, I mean you get a lot more like low block teams on top of that. So I feel like you'd think like Bellerin works for that situation, so he would just do a ton of crosses, but he just that's the side that gets attacked a lot more by opposing teams, and in a lot of way, I kind of feel bad for him, but I think I think what we're seeing now is the phasing out of him, like you said.
I think Bhargav is again lagging a bit.
A lot more than
latency there.
But I think overall Bellerin's poor performances have also you need to understand that because he's been poor in the recent times, he gets a lot of stick because of his past performances and not just what he's doing at present. So it is what it is. But let's move on from that situation. And Steve, as a neutral, when you look at Arsenal as a club, are you Arteta in or are you Arteta out? What do you feel about that?
I think we should mention his slight Spurs love.
Well, my dad is a Tottenham supporter, so I always have a soft spot for Spurs. I must openly say that I do not support Tottenham. I do not support them, and I have watched Arsenal live a lot more than I've watched Spurs. I used to go a lot because my uncle had a season ticket, so I would go to loads of games each season for a very long time. It was always a good experience.
So you saw the better team. You saw the better team play.
I mean, they never lost. They never lost when I watched them, other than when when Olympiacos played Arsenal in 2015 at the Emirates, we beat you guys. That's the only time I've seen Arsenal lose at the Emirates.
Yeah.
I guess to answer the big questions for Thursday, you guys want to do a little predictions actually, just for the game?
Hold on, Bhargav. The
Hold
main
on.
question: Steve didn't
Yeah.
say whether he's Arteta in or he's Arteta out. Everyone will want to know that as well.
I know, and there's loads of people I've spoken to on stream before that have most definitely Arteta out. From a unbiased perspective, I don't see the point in him leaving yet, because there isn't. I feel like that just undoes the good things that have happened, and I do think there have been some good things that have been implemented. You know, he has started to form his own team. He has started to get rid of the deadwood that he doesn't want. So we'll see. I think it comes down to next season. I think next season will be the last straw. If nothing changes from there, then I think that might be the end. But for now, I think he should stay, because the last thing Arsenal need is constant transition, because that just keeps you in the same place.
Just an additional question to that: have you seen any such kind of a similar transition for Olympiacos over the years? Or
Yes,
this is
I certainly have.
You have.
2017-18 was our worst season for over, I think it was like over 2 decades. We were dreadful. We were nearly a decade. We were awful. We went through 3 managers. We brought in a ton of players, sold a ton of players in the summer. We didn't win the title. We got chucked out of Europe at the group stage of the Champions League, finished 4th. We lost 5 and drew 1 and lost none. We lost 5, drew 1 and won none, which was appalling. It was embarrassing. And then at the end of the season, Pedro Martins came in. He had a transition year where we didn't win the title again, but we were a lot better in Europe and in the league. And then last season we won the double. So we saw definite progression there. And the whole reason why we are where we are is because our owner, Evangelos Marinakis, didn't just pull the plug on the project 2 seasons ago when we didn't win the title but improved, because then it just would have uprooted all the good things we'd done, and there was definite signs of improvement. So I've seen it in recent times, and I'm glad that we're in a much better place than we were back then.
But the crucial word that you mentioned there is titles, which we are far away from as of now. That is our main problem. That if we had the titles, I don't know why fans discard the FA Cup that we won last year like it was nothing.
You guys beat some important teams to get there, and you deserve the title. You deserve the FA Cup.
Yeah. Like Pochettino tried his best in all the years that he was at Tottenham. He tried his best to get a title, but he didn't get one. He came close to the Champions League. Some other managers have also done that, but I don't want to get into the Arteta in versus Arteta out. Otherwise, it will keep going on and on.
Yeah.
But I think just to add to that if we get a title this year, like maybe Europa, that is what we're hoping for. I think things
that's fantastic. You're in the Champions League. Doesn't matter where you finish then in the league this season.
Yep. And Bhargav, let's get into the predictions then.
Yeah.
So, what is your prediction for the game?
For me, I see it being 1-1. I feel like it's going to be a draw, because I think you guys are going to come out like you have nothing to lose.
Okay, and I think the lag is back.
They will allow 1 goal. But the problem is, the thing is for me is I don't know where you guys' chances are going to come from. I think that's like the big issue.
Yeah.
I think you could maybe score like 2 or 3, but like I just don't know where it's going to come from. I think the first half you guys are going to press a lot, and probably your midfield's not bad. I mean, I actually wanted Camara. Actually, I'm actually pretty impressed.
Yeah, he was linked with you guys. He was linked with Arsenal a season or 2 back. Yeah, he'd be good for you guys.
He's a perfect partner for like Partey, actually.
Yeah, he's a number. He would do the bombing up and down the pitch. He's a proper box to box player. Camara is excellent.
Last night on Egal's channel, there was a guy who mentioned that if they were trolling around and saying that Socrates is going to score a hat trick, and one of the guys said, one of the guys said that if Socrates scores a hat trick, I'm giving you £100.
I don't even know the odds for that. I don't even know if you bet on that what the odds would be. Probably ridiculous odds. It'd be bigger than Leicester winning the title way back when. It would be ridiculous.
I think Socrates can score one goal because we are not that great defending set pieces.
Neither
But
are we.
three,
We
yeah,
still
three.
conceded on the weekend against the worst team in the league. We conceded a set piece. So, even it doesn't matter who we face. In open play, we're actually fine at defending when it comes to defending. It's not a problem. When it comes to pressure, they're actually great in open play of just calmly passing the ball to Jose Sarr. He distributes it fairly well. That's not the problem. It was always just set pieces, and that came back to haunt us in the last game. In terms of my prediction, I think I'll say 2-1 again, but this time I'll say for Arsenal. As much as I would love us to have a comeback, it'd be incredible. I'm going to be super pessimistic to hopefully get the result swing our way. But no, I do mean it when I say I think we'll be 2-1 Arsenal.
Okay, that's fair enough. I think a lot of fans would agree with that. The only concern that they may have is the likes of Saka missing from the game, because without him, our creativity goes like a level or two down. At least that is the minimum I can say. So let's see whether it works out for us or not. Bhargav, any more questions before I give my prediction, and probably we can wrap up this chat? We've already gone on for around 50 minutes.
Yeah, no, pretty much like I said, 1-1. I expect you guys to score one goal, Arsenal to tighten up, and then hold on to that. It'll be nice obviously it'll be nice to get a performance out of it, but I think they're probably gonna play it safe for this game. But yeah, that's pretty much it. It was a great overall, regardless of what happens tomorrow, I think it's definitely shown a lot of Arsenal in a sense. I think hopefully we can have a more complete performance than the first game. I know people are pretty happy, but what's the season prospects for you guys now? Is it just win the title, get into Champions League?
Yeah, win the title, win the Greek Cup, which we have just we're in the semi-finals for the Greek Cup, so we're well on the way to do that. And getting a double again and finishing round of 16 in Europa League is exactly what we did last season. So that's good because it shows consistency.
All right.
Yeah, I remember after the first leg, I said when Arteta took off Thomas Partey, I was having the feeling that he had gone in to play a 1-1 draw there. He was not really going for the win, and he thought that let me save these guys for the weekend for the North London derby. But there were two special goals from us, and that is why we won the game. Otherwise, I think Arteta was thinking that I'll win it in the second leg. But because of the scoreline, now I think he may be a bit at ease and peace, and he may try something different out this time. So I guess I think he was not really aiming for that win, but our players have stepped up against you. Now it's your turn to step up. If your team steps up, then you could give us a run for our money. Spurs did with 10 men, so you need to step. If you step up, I think it could happen. But for a prediction, I think it may end up again as maybe a 1-1 draw now, because we don't need to win and we need to conserve for West Ham as well.
Yeah, that's pretty much. That's pretty much it. Honestly, overall, it's gonna. It just doesn't feel like it would be a great game. For example, you guys have to play the game of your life.
Yeah, exactly.
For this to have the best
performance of the season. We have to have the performance of the season.
If you score a couple of goals without us scoring anything,
it's free flowing football. It can happen, but I just don't see it.
I think Bhargav lagged again. I was just saying, if you score a couple of goals without us, scoring any, I think then the tie completely changes. If it's around 2-0, if it's 2-0 at halftime, Arsenal, that dressing room will be on fire. Our dressing room especially, and yours with respect to energy and maybe them trying to push through that third goal. But 2-0, again, as Bhargav mentioned, that creativity, it's going to be tough, and it will have to be one of your best games of the season.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think we have gone on for
55
minutes. Sorry, go ahead, Bhargav.
No, I guess we should leave it there. That's what I was saying.
Yeah. So I was just saying that we have gone on for around 55 minutes now. So just a quick shout out again before we wrap it up. Steve, where can people find you? And do mention about the work that you do again, so that if someone watches the video, misses out the start of the video, at least they can follow you on Twitter as well. And before that, guys, the links to these guys' Twitters as well, Steve, Bhargav, even Adam, who's not here right now, is in the description. and even of the channel Beyond the Post, the stream of the Twitter account. Do follow us as well and follow these guys as well. Thank you for your support as always. And yes, Steve, where can people find you again?
Well, firstly, thank you so much for having me on. It's been a really great to chat to both of you. And as like I said before, you can find me on @SteveConturu with the Twitter handle and also on Instagram as well. You can also find me on Hellas Football, where I do a weekly blog, mostly about Olympiacos, sometimes about the Greek national team, sometimes about the Cyprus national team as well, because some people care about that. And yeah, to check out everyone else's content on Hellas Football as well, which you can find on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. We have a YouTube channel, we have a website, we have our podcast on Anchor, on Spotify, and on Apple Music as well.
And it was good to have you on as well, because we need the other side of the discussion as well. Otherwise, it will be just us Arsenal fans going on about how Arteta in versus Arteta out keeps our day ticking. And Bhargav, big up to you as well. Thank you again for setting everything up. And please give a shout out to your account as well and where people can find you.
Yeah, I guess I should put this on there. I mean, yeah, you'll find the link in the description, and you'll find me on Sheetley TV. We do a lot of like charity streams, the liver awareness, mental health, and then the big thing that's going to be coming up is Formula One. The season's picking off. It's my first season and ever, and I picked Team Ferrari to oppose Steven's affinity for Mercedes. Don't see. I mean, it's going to be interesting because it's my first time getting into the sport. So I'll be doing a lot of coverage with that. Apart from that, yeah, pretty much it.
And I think to support your claim with Ferrari, even Aubameyang drove off his Ferrari after he was dropped against Tottenham onto the bench. I think so. That's a +1 already for you. And big up to you as well. Thank you, Steve. Thank you, Bhargav, for joining in. And hopefully next season we have a break from Olympiacos and we play someone else for at least one season.
I hope we get you guys again. I just think it's hilarious every time. See you next season.
I remember how the Arsenal fans were going on, like how this is a revenge tie and we need to win this at any cost.
Well, you've almost got it. You're 95% there, but don't underestimate us.
Yeah, I think the realist Arsenal fans will say that this tie is not over yet, and let's find out what happens tomorrow. So big up to Steve once again, big up to Bhargav, and hope to see you guys on more and more shows together. And till then, thank you everyone for joining in, everyone who has been supporting the channel all this while, and people in the comments as well. Miss Melina Sankalp joining in towards the end, and anyone else. I think that's about it. And we'll be doing more shows and see you guys by the end of this week, hopefully. Take care, be home, be safe, and follow all the COVID restrictions that are applied in your vicinity.